Princess Anne's explosive warning about Camilla. That everyone ignored. Did Princess Anne see the truth about Camilla before anyone else? Long before the world understood Camilla's influence, Anne reportedly raised quiet but pointed concerns, but her warnings were dismissed, ignored, or brushed aside. Why? Was it simple family tension, or did Anne sense a deeper shift that would change the monarchy forever? If the royal family had really listened to Anne in time, would everything have turned out differently? Stay with us as we uncover the hidden warnings, the power struggles, and the truth behind one of the monarchy's most controversial relationships. Number 1. The complex dynamic between Princess Anne and Camilla. Back in the 1970s, two women who would later become key figures in the British royal family first crossed paths: Anne, the only daughter of the Queen, and Camilla, the woman who would one day be Queen herself. Long before Camilla married Charles, she was with a man named Andrew Parker Bowles, a now retired British Army officer. But here's the unexpected part. Anne also had a brief romantic connection with him. Yes, the Queen's daughter and the future Queen both had ties to the same man. Anne and Andrew's relationship didn't go anywhere serious, largely because he wasn't considered a suitable match for a royal princess. However, he later married Camilla in 1973, which meant Anne and Camilla were suddenly moving in the same circles. At the time, Camilla wasn't a member of the royal family, but she already had a major influence on it because of her relationship with Charles. Anne, on the other hand, had spent her whole life under royal rules, doing her duty without much sensation. Their personalities couldn't have been more different. Anne was known for her no-nonsense, straight-talking attitude, while Camilla had a more easygoing charm. This contrast made their dynamic all the more fascinating. For years, their interactions remained polite but distant. Anne, being fiercely loyal to her brother, likely had complicated feelings about the woman who had been a part of his life even while he was married to Diana. Number 2. Early indications of Anne's reservations. When Prince Charles started dating Camilla, not everyone in the royal family was thrilled about it. One of the first people to raise an eyebrow was his own sister, Princess Anne. From the very beginning, Anne kept a polite but noticeable distance from Camilla. It wasn't like she made a big scene or openly spoke against her, but those who were paying attention could see the signs. At events, Anne was often seen keeping conversations with Camilla to a minimum. She wasn't rude, but she wasn't exactly warm either. When Charles and Camilla's relationship became more serious, Anne's skepticism didn't fade. Even after Camilla officially became part of the royal family, Anne maintained a formal, somewhat distant relationship with her. Unlike others who gradually warmed up to Camilla over time, Anne never really changed her stance. Number 3. Camilla's entry into the royal circle, a turning point. When Camilla started becoming an important part of Charles's life, things didn't exactly go smoothly. It was like a storm slowly gathering over the royal family. Charles had been married to Diana, and the whole world saw their relationship as something out of a fairy tale. But behind the scenes, things were far from perfect. Camilla had always been in the picture, even before Diana, and when Diana's marriage with Charles started falling apart, Camilla's presence became more obvious. This didn't just affect Charles and Diana. It shook the whole royal family. It wasn't until much later, after years of controversy and public scandals, that Camilla was finally seen in a different light. Today, she holds a position that once seemed impossible, proving that time can change even the most stubborn hearts. Number 4. The Queen's stance versus Princess Anne's private concerns. Queen Elizabeth II, known for her calm and careful way of handling things, had a firm stance on one particular issue: Camilla. She wasn't a fan. And it wasn't just a simple "I don't like her" situation. She had her reasons. The Queen believed in duty, tradition, and maintaining a spotless royal image. Camilla, in her eyes, didn't fit that picture, especially with all the baggage of past relationships. The Queen had spent her whole life keeping the monarchy steady, and she wasn't about to let anything or anyone shake that up. But while the Queen kept her concerns wrapped in royal composure, her daughter, Princess Anne, had her own thoughts, and she wasn't as quiet about them behind closed doors. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Time has a funny way of changing things. The Queen, despite her initial resistance, eventually accepted Camilla into the royal circle. Camilla even ended up being crowned alongside King Charles III, a twist no one would have predicted back when all this tension was brewing. Number 5. The tense relationship between Anne and Camilla. When Charles finally married Camilla after years of scandal and drama, Anne wasn't exactly thrilled. She was raised with a strong sense of duty and tradition. There have been whispers that Anne often ignored her at events and kept interactions to a minimum. During one public event, royal watchers noticed Anne completely turning her back when Camilla approached, pretending not to see her. Even at official gatherings, Anne was said to be cool and distant, showing little warmth toward her brother's wife. One of the most talked about moments was at Charles's coronation, where Anne, dressed in her military uniform, barely acknowledged Camilla. Some believe it's because Anne thought her late mother, Queen Elizabeth, never fully approved of Camilla taking on such a major role. Number 6. Subtle public warnings from Princess Anne. Over the years, there have been moments when Princess Anne subtly hinted at her doubts about the state of things. Whether it was the future of the royal family, certain people in the spotlight, or decisions being made behind closed doors. One of the most famous moments was when she was asked about the younger generation taking the monarchy forward. Instead of giving a cheerful endorsement, she simply smirked and said, "Good luck." Another time, when the topic of modernizing the royal family came up, she calmly reminded people that they had already tried that in the 1960s and 70s, and that rushing to change things wasn't always the smartest idea. It sounded harmless, but if you listened closely, you could hear the hesitation in her tone. Body language experts have pointed out that Anne has a habit of stiffening up or looking away when she's uncomfortable with a question. During key interviews, whenever certain controversial topics were mentioned, she would tighten her lips or let out a quiet sigh before answering. This might seem small, but in a world where every royal statement is carefully crafted, even the tiniest reaction can say a lot. One of the biggest clues about her real feelings came during a family event where cameras caught her sharing a knowing glance with her brother, Charles. It lasted only a second, but in that moment it was as if they both understood something the rest of the world didn't. The most striking thing about Anne is that she doesn't chase the spotlight, but when she does speak, people listen. Number 7. Anne's relationship with Charles and the impact of Camilla. Meanwhile, we need to keep in mind that Anne and Charles grew up together in a world where every move they made was watched by millions. As kids, they were close, but their lives took them in different directions. Charles, being the first in line for the throne, always had a heavier weight on his shoulders, while Anne, known for her solid attitude, carved her own path. They were a team in many ways, but things started to change when Camilla became a permanent part of Charles's life. Camilla wasn't just another name in the long list of people surrounding the royal family. She was someone Charles truly loved. But love isn't always simple, especially when it comes with a history that's tangled up in royal expectations, a failed marriage, and a whole lot of public drama. Anne, who had always been fiercely loyal to the traditions of the family, reportedly had her reservations. It wasn't just about personal feelings, it was about what this meant for the monarchy, the legacy, and how the world saw them. Over time, cracks started to form in Anne and Charles's bond. Some reports even suggest that Anne took a while to fully accept Camilla's role, especially when she officially became queen consort. Despite all this, Anne and Charles share something unbreakable, a lifetime of experiences only they truly understand. Anne remains one of the strongest pillars of the royal family, and her relationship with Charles, though tested, is still built on the foundation of their shared past. Number 8. Anne's views on royal duty versus Camilla's approach. Now if you look closely, Princess Anne and Queen Camilla see their royal roles in very different ways. Anne has always believed that being part of the royal family means putting duty before anything else. She's been one of the hardest working royals for decades, taking on hundreds of public engagements every year without making a nuisance. Camilla, on the other hand, never expected to be queen. She lived a private life for years and only stepped into the royal world much later, after her marriage to King Charles III. Unlike Anne, who has always been focused on duty, Camilla has had to grow into the role. She took her time adjusting, choosing to focus on causes that felt personal to her, like literacy and supporting victims of domestic violence. She also has a more relaxed and informal approach, often seen laughing and chatting at events, whereas Anne is known for her no-nonsense, business-like manner. The contrast between them is striking. Anne has spent her entire life following strict royal traditions, rarely showing emotion in public, and working tirelessly without seeking attention. Camilla, by comparison, had to win over the public after years of controversy, and took a different path to earning respect. Number 9. The Wedding That Changed Everything, 2005. Then, in 2005, Prince Charles, the future king, married Camilla. For years, Charles and Camilla's relationship had been a messy secret, tangled in scandal and heartbreak. The fact that they were finally getting married wasn't just big news, it was history being rewritten. What's even crazier is that this wedding was so different from the usual royal fairy tale. There was no grand church ceremony like the one Charles had with Diana. Instead, it was a quiet, low-key event at a town hall. Even the Queen, their own mother, skipped the main ceremony, choosing to attend only the blessing afterward. That alone showed how awkward this was for the royal family. Number 10. Post-marriage dynamics. Did Anne change her stance? At first, Anne reportedly had little enthusiasm for Camilla's new royal role. It was even noted that she wouldn't curtsy to Camilla, since she technically outranked her as the daughter of a monarch. This wasn't just speculation. An official memo was issued making it clear that Anne wasn't required to bow to her new sister-in-law. But time has a way of changing things. Over the years, Anne and Camilla were seen together more often, sharing moments of laughter and conversation. A key turning point happened in 2024 when Anne presented Camilla with an honorary doctorate at the University of London. In a small but telling gesture, Camilla tried to let Anne walk ahead, but Anne insisted Camilla go first, showing a newfound sense of respect. From distant and formal to warm and respectful, their relationship has taken an unexpected but fascinating turn. Number 11. The public's changing opinion. Was Anne right all along? Now we have discussed a lot about how Princess Anne thought, or Queen Camilla perceived it. But how was the public reception? At first, the public wasn't exactly Camilla's biggest fan. Many saw her as the reason behind one of the most talked about royal breakups in history. In the 90s, her approval ratings were abysmal, lower than you'd expect for someone in her position. She was called names, blamed for everything, and avoided the spotlight like it was cursed. But over time, things changed. The public softened, the narrative shifted, and Camilla went from being disliked to being accepted. What's shocking is how drastically things flipped. Polls that once painted her as one of the least popular members of the royal family later showed her earning respect. Some people even argued she was one of the hardest working members. But here's the twist. Despite all this, some still wonder, was Anne right all along? Number 12. What this means for the future of the royal family. You know, the royal family isn't just about crowns and castles. It's a system that depends on public support. History has shown that when the people turn against a royal, things can fall apart. Edward VIII had to give up his throne because he married someone the establishment didn't approve of. More recently, Diana's immense popularity put pressure on the monarchy to change. Camilla was once one of the most disliked figures in the royal family. Her approval ratings in the 1990s were shockingly low. But over time, carefully planned public appearances, a change in media narratives, and the passage of time helped shift her image. She went from being blamed for a broken marriage to being accepted as queen. Anne, however, never changed her approach. She stayed neutral but firm. William and Kate now operate with extreme caution, making sure their image is always in line with public expectations. Even Harry and Meghan's exit from the family followed a historical pattern. Royals who challenge the system too openly often find themselves pushed to the sidelines. The monarchy has survived centuries of scandals and shake-ups, but its survival depends on its ability to adapt while keeping public trust. Number 13. What this means for William's future as king. As Prince William observes the ongoing tensions with King Charles, this could shape how he handles challenges when he becomes the king. Will he opt for a more open, modern approach like the late Princess Diana, or follow his father's vision of a streamlined monarchy? This incident could inspire William to reshape the monarchy, prioritizing unity and transparency. He might focus on rebuilding public trust and ensuring the royal family remains relevant in today's world. How William handles situations like these could determine the monarchy's future, balancing tradition with modern expectations. Number 14. The future of Charles and Camilla's reign. King Charles and Queen Camilla's refusal to honor the Queen's final wish might have lasting effects on their public image. The royal family is already under intense scrutiny, and this move could fuel criticism, especially from those who view them as not respecting Queen Elizabeth's legacy. It could also deepen the divide between them and younger royals like Prince William. This situation could influence Charles and Camilla's future decision-making, possibly pushing them to focus more on streamlining the monarchy and keeping a low profile. Their relationship with other family members might be strained, and these tensions could influence how they handle future royal matters. In the long run, how Charles and Camilla manage these internal conflicts could determine their success in leading the monarchy through changing times. Number 15. The legacy of Princess Anne's warning. Princess Anne's explosive warning about Camilla may have been ignored by many, but its echoes remain. Her cautionary words have become a touchstone for those who believe that the royal family's future depends on heeding the truths of the past. Though the warning was dismissed at the time, history shows that neglecting such insights can have profound consequences. Anne's legacy as a steadfast, unyielding figure in the royal family continues to inspire the next generation of royals to value duty, tradition, and honesty above all. So, in simple terms, do you think Princess Anne's warning was justified? Or was it just an overreaction? How do you think things would have been different if the royal family had heeded her caution? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more royal insights. See you soon in our next.